Well, meantime, Texas and California are poised to move forward with mid-decade redistricting. But where else could we see some altered maps? And which party would come out on top if all potential players do make their move? Other states could jump into the fray, including Indiana, Florida, Missouri, all of which have Republican-led legislatures. But the Democratic governors of New York and Illinois are also looking at their options. So when all is said and done, Decision Desk HQ projects Republicans could gain anywhere from 11 to 17 new seats, while Democrats could add somewhere between 4 to 10 new seats. Overall, the GOP could net between 2 and 13 seats, but there also are other factors to consider. So here now to help us examine some of those, DDHQ Chief Elections Analyst Geoffrey Skelley. Geoffrey, thank you for joining us today. So we see this map change in Texas. We see the immediate response from California. If we continue to see this tit for tat, which party really has the upper hand here?
Well, as the numbers you showed on screen there lay out, I think Republicans have the upper hand. The main thing that's going on here is that if states are going to choose to redistrict and are able to, it's about which party has control of the state and how they go about redistricting. And Republicans simply control a lot more states than Democrats do, where the legislature is in charge of drawing congressional districts. So with that in mind, Republicans just have a lot more room for maneuver when it comes to adding seats. Now, at the end of the day, it is a little bit of a game of inches here. If Republicans get a net gain of 6 seats out of this whole process, that's not nothing, but it's also not like 30 seats or something like that.
So, Geoffrey, at the top of this, we listed some of the other states that may do this. Are we likely to see other states respond? I mean, Texas did it, California immediately responded. And if so, how often could we potentially see these redraws?
Well, there's no question that Republicans in places like Indiana and in Missouri, they just started a special session to look at this question. Florida, Ohio is definitely going to redistrict. All those are states where Republicans will be in control of the redistricting process. And so those are places where Republicans could very obviously add at least a handful of seats. Democrats don't really have a lot of other good places to respond to this, in part because the states where they have full control and where the state legislature is has the power to draw, they've already sort of maxed out what they could gain. Illinois' congressional map is one where Democrats have a 14-3 advantage because they drew extremely favorable lines for themselves. In Maryland, they have a 7-1 advantage. Democrats drew very favorable lines. So they just have kind of fewer Republican seats to target in the first place. So that's a big advantage for the GOP as well.
All right, so you say advantage GOP in all of this, but is redistricting going to be enough for the GOP to successfully stop Democrats from potentially winning the House next year?
I think it's helpful for people to remember the sort of general math here in the U.S. House of Representatives. If you include vacancies with the party that held them previously, Republicans have a 220 to 215 edge in the 435-seat chamber. That means Democrats only need, as of this moment, 3 seats net to get to 218, a 218, 217 advantage. Obviously, that'd be an extremely slim majority, but very, very small gain for Democrats to actually take control. So if Republicans end up winning sort of this redistricting conflict and add, 7, 8, 9 seats so you could sort of adjust it to think maybe Democrats need a dozen seats to win a majority instead. That's very doable by historical standards for the party out of power. And overall, Democrats still have a fair number of districts, probably 20 or so, that either lean slightly left of the country that Republicans hold or lean just a hair to the right of the country that Republicans hold that they can target. So Democrats are not out and out here. It's just that Republicans are in a position to make this hill a bit steeper.
And talk about that. You mentioned the fact that, the party out of power right now, that is definitely Democrats, but that could really help that party come next year.
Yes, historically, the party that is in the White House tends to struggle in midterm elections, at least in the U.S. House, because the U.S. House is a national election. The Senate, only about a third of the Senate is up every 2 years, so a lot depends on which set of Senate seats are up. But in the House, all 435 seats are up every 2 years. So in a midterm, that's where you can actually see really a national swing against the president's party. And even in 2022, where Democrats had a pretty good year for a presidential party, they still lost 9 seats in the House and lost control of it. So The magnitude, the margins here will matter a great deal, but I think Democrats are still favorites, at least to some extent, to take back the House.
All right.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.